What's up, fam? It's your boy Legend, and I am back with another video. What if Naruto was the last God of Shinobi Part 7? If you guys enjoyed this video and you want more content like this and all the other wild what ifs that I write, then tap that like button real quick. And while you're at it, aggressively punch that subscribe button like it owes you money but refuses to pay up. But real talk, I'm still in the hospital. Yeah, the pain meds are doing their thing. So just bear with me. If I sound a little off, if there is any like awkward pauses that I don't edit out, that's why. But with that all said and done, let's roll the intro so we can get into this what if. 4 weeks have passed since Hayate's body had been brought before the Hokage, sealed and unsealed in grim silence. The weight of that night still lingered over Konoha like a quiet fog, an invisible tension that only a select few could feel. Tomorrow, the Chūnin Exam Finals would commence, drawing in Shinobi from every corner of the elemental nations. But for those who knew the truth, Hiruzen, Jiraiya, Ibiki, Ujeo, and Naruto, the finals represented not celebration, but the beginning of a war that would test every last nerve they had. The streets of Konoha bustled with life. Vendors shouted beneath paper banners. Children darted between stalls with candy in hand, and travelers filled the air with laughter and chatter. The illusion of peace was strong, and that was precisely how the Hokage wanted it. The fewer who knew, the better. Meanwhile, Naruto found himself in the market district, hands buried in his pockets, standing just outside a small grocery store with its red awning, faded by years of sunlight. He wasn't shopping for himself. Not this time. Araya had given him a list earlier that morning. And though he grumbled at first, he found himself oddly content carrying it around. She was older than him, wiser in ways he wasn't, but she also brought something calm to his otherwise restless world. In some strange way, being around her grounded him. Made him think before he acted, made him mature. Between spending time with her, training under Jiraiya, and working directly with the Hokage, Naruto was slowly being molded into something sharper, steadier. A boy forced by circumstance to grow into a man. At 14, he was already a Special Jōnin, a title most wouldn't earn until they were well into their 20s. And yet, even with that title, there were days he still felt like that lonely orphan who looked in on others, looked in on their happiness from afar. Maybe that's why he clung to Araya the way he did. She made him feel normal, not as a shinobi, but as a person. Naruto shifted against the wall beside the entrance, his bright blue eyes following Araya as she waited at the checkout counter. The store was crowded, but her presence drew attention like a flame. Her long black hair was tied loosely behind her shoulders, and the soft blue blouse she wore complemented her dark eyes. She smiled politely at the cashier as he totaled up her groceries. "Ma'am, that'll be 160 ryo," the man said, his grin widening. Then, lowering his voice, he leaned forward and added with a smirk, "However, a pretty woman like yourself could easily get a hefty discount if you Do a few things for me, if you catch my drift. Araya stiffened, her polite smile faltering. She heard it before, too many times, from too many men who thought a woman alone was fair game. Her lips parted slightly, but before she could respond, the rhythmic sound of sandals on tile cut through the noise. Naruto walked up beside her, slipping 200 ryo onto the counter with calm precision. His voice was low, steady, but there was something cold behind it. She doesn't need any discounts, he said, and I want my change. The cashier blinked, startled by the quiet confidence in the boy's tone. Then his eyes dropped to the glinting metal of the Konoha forehead protector tied around his forehead. The blood drained from his face. Of course, sir. My apologies. Miss, I didn't mean. He fumbled through the register, counting out the change with trembling fingers before handing it over. Naruto pocketed the coins and gathered the grocery bags without another word. Araya followed him out, a faint flush on her cheeks, part embarrassment, part something else entirely. They walked side by side through the cobblestone streets, the late afternoon sun painting their shadows long against the ground. For a while, neither spoke. Only the sounds of the marketplace filled the air. Distant chatter, the hum of cicadas, and the faint rustle of wind through paper lanterns. Naruto finally glanced sideways, breaking the silence. You alright, Araya? She smiled faintly, brushing a strand of hair from her face. Yeah, I'm fine. That guy at the store didn't bother me. I'm practically used to it by now. Naruto frowned, the words stirring something unpleasant inside of him. He reached over and took her hand, his grip firm but gentle. Well, it's not happening anymore, he said quietly. Not while I'm around. You're my woman now. I'm not letting anyone disrespect you like that again. Araya looked at him. Really looked at him. And for a moment, the tension melted. She smiled, her thumb brushing across the back of his hand as they walked. It was easy to forget that beneath his confident stride and determined eyes, Naruto was still just 14, a boy forced to shoulder the burdens of men twice his age. By the time they reached her apartment complex, the sun had begun to dip behind the rooftops. The air had cooled, tinged with the faint smell of rain. They climbed the narrow wooden stairs to her door, and Araya turned to him, her expression soft but curious. Baby, she began, what are you doing tomorrow? Naruto froze mid-step, his heart skipping. He'd been dreading that question all day. Tomorrow? He echoed, buying time. I'm being a proctor for the Chūnin exams. Why? Araya's face fell slightly as she turned her key in the lock. Because I wanted to spend more time with you, she said, her voice dropping to a small pout. Do you have to proctor? Naruto followed her inside, setting the grocery bags on the counter. The apartment was cozy, small, but neat and clean, with plants near the windows and faint traces of vanilla in the air. He watched her move about the room, unpacking food like she always did, humming softly to herself. For a second, he wished he could just tell her the truth, that tomorrow Konoha would be under siege, that her life and everyone else's was in danger. But he couldn't. If I chose not to proctor tomorrow, it'd cause problems, he said finally, forcing a smile. So I should just do it. Araya sighed, puffing out her cheeks like a disappointed child. Well, if you can't be here with me, then how about I go with you to the stadium? Naruto's hand froze mid-reach as he set the carton of milk into the fridge. His mind raced. He couldn't let her go. He couldn't risk her being there when it all began. But the words refused to form. He couldn't just tell her no without a reason. Not without raising suspicion. Not without making her feel unwanted. He swallowed hard, his jaw tightening. Is it that important for you to come? Araya nodded, her eyes earnest. I just want to see you in action, that's all. You've worked so hard lately. I want to be there to cheer you on. Naruto exhaled slowly through his nose, every instinct screaming against it. He didn't want her near the stadium, near what was coming, but he could see the hope in her face, the excitement. She had no idea what kind of day tomorrow would be. Finally, he forced a smile. All right, he said softly. I'll pay for your ticket tomorrow. Just leave with me early so I can get you situated. Araya's eyes lit up. She leaned forward, kissing his cheek. Thank you. You're so sweet. Naruto smiled back, but his mind was elsewhere, already running through the possibilities, the ways he could shield her if the worst happened. He'd fought enemies stronger than he could name. He'd seen death, blood, betrayal, but nothing frightened him more than the thought of losing her tomorrow. As the night deepened and the candles in her apartment flickered low, Naruto sat quietly by the window, looking out over the dark rooftops of Konoha. In the distance, he could see the faint outline of the stadium where everything would unfold. He clenched his hands together, whispering softly under his breath, not a prayer, but a promise. I'll keep you safe, Araya, no matter what happens. Time skip. The next morning, Naruto's hand shook as he paid for the ticket so Araya could enter the Chūnin Exam Stadium with him. However, when the people saw him with her, they were shocked. Everyone knew who Naruto was, and they also knew that nobody adopted him. So when she called him baby, it caught everyone in earshot off guard. After all, he was only 14 and she was 24. The both of them walked in together, and immediately Araya caught on that Naruto was not necessarily acting strange, but he was more paranoid. Araya went to take a seat near the top pews with all the other civilians, but Naruto tugged on her hand. No, not here. There's better seats that you can get. Araya rose an eyebrow, but she decided to say nothing, and she let her man lead her through the pews. Araya also noticed that Naruto was holding her hand tighter than usual, and when Naruto finally led her to a seat, she found herself next to a woman with ruby red eyes, a man with a mask that covered the lower portion of his face, and a man dressed in a green jumpsuit. Shikamaru and Shino were also sitting near. Naruto went to hop the railing to enter the arena, but he was stopped by Araya. Hey, wait a second. Is there a reason why you specifically chose this seat? Naruto turned to her and leaned against the 4-foot railing. Yeah, there is, actually. I'll tell you part of the reason to appease you. With there being shinobi from other villages, I don't know what can happen. That's why you're sitting next to three of the strongest Jōnin in the village. And my two teammates, Shino and Shikamaru. On top of that, with you sitting here, if anything does happen, I can get up here in less than 1 second. Araya laughed lightly as she placed a hand on his forearm. All right, Mr. Paranoid, thank you for the bodyguards, but it wasn't necessary. Naruto smiled. I hope so. He then jumped over the railing and into the arena. When Naruto landed, Kurenai scooted closer to Araya and tapped her on the shoulder to get her attention. You look a bit familiar, but I have to ask, are you Naruto's neighbor or something? Araya smiled slightly. Well, I may look familiar because I work at Konoha Bank as a teller. And yes, I've handled withdrawals for your account along with deposits. And as for me being Naruto-kun's neighbor, no, I'm not. Don't judge when I say this, but I'm actually his girlfriend. Kurenai looked at her, shocked. She wasn't expecting that. What? You... But... I'm sorry. How old are you? Araya rolled her eyes. I'm 24, and yes, I know Naruto is only 14, but as far as I'm concerned, he became a man the day he became a shinobi. Plus, I love my man, and he damn sure loves me. So please, if you're just gonna sit here and judge me for getting involved with a man younger than me, then respectfully stop. She then turned back to the stadium, done with the conversation. Minutes later, the finals for the Chūnin exams begun, and the first match was Shikamaru versus Temari. The fight ended after 2 hours, with Shikamaru forcing Temari into submission, only to give up due to chakra exhaustion. Though the fight wasn't too flashy, it was a battle of intelligence, and it impressed Naruto just a bit. Naruto declared Temari the winner, only for her to look back at him with a curiosity and interest. He was still on her mind from when he put on a casual display of his skills during the Chūnin exams and the preliminaries. Naruto then called the next fight, which was Shino versus Samui. Naruto didn't know how the match would turn out. He knew almost nothing about Samui, so he was content to just watch. However, when the match was over, the outcome surprised him. It was a draw. Shino was too injured to stand, and Samui had next to no chakra. Shino drained her dry. Naruto declared the fight a draw, and the Megas came and took Shino and Samui away on a stretcher. Naruto looked up into the crowd at Araya before he went to call the third fight. Naruto was nervous. He kept wiping sweat from his forehead and fidgeting with his kunai pouch, and Araya saw all of it. But what worried her was the look on his face. It was almost like he was anticipating something to happen. Naruto finally called the third match, Sasuke Uchiha versus Gaara of the Desert. Gaara appeared in a thick sandstorm, nearly blinding everyone, and Sasuke, not wanting to be outdone, used a Chidori, causing him to slam into the middle of the arena, creating a giant crater as he walked out of it. Sharingan activated before they reverted back to normal. Naruto slowly walked up to Sasuke and spoke. Nice entrance. Very nice entrance. Stupid, but nice. Flashy. Naruto placed a hand on Sasuke's shoulder, and Sasuke shrugged him off. Get off me, loser. Naruto grit his teeth and pulled Sasuke closer by the throat. Shut up and listen. The way Naruto said it, it came out almost like a growl. Listen and listen carefully, Sasuke. This guy you're fighting, he plans to kill you here. And after that, the village will be attacked by the sand, the sound, and Orochimaru. Here's what I need you to do. Deal as much fatal damage to this guy as possible before the invasion starts. Not if you understand me. Sasuke nodded, and Naruto continued speaking. Good. Now, when the invasion starts, I want you and Shikamaru to protect my girlfriend and get her to the civilian bunkers. Do you see the woman with long black hair and dark blue eyes over my shoulder in the stands? Sasuke looked over Naruto's shoulder and saw the woman he was talking about. She was pleasant. She was a pleasant woman to look at. And Sasuke had to look twice because of it. He was about to tell Naruto that she looks twice his age, but now wasn't the time for that. Yeah, I see her. Naruto released Sasuke and slipped a soldier pill into his pocket. If anyone comes after you or anywhere near her, I want you to slaughter them. I do it myself, but Hokage Gigi has me doing something far more dangerous. I slipped a soldier pill into your pocket if you need it. Naruto then stepped back and looked over his shoulder at his girlfriend, Araya, and started the match. Meanwhile, Hiruzen sat in the booth with all the other Kage that were there. He sat next to the Kazekage and the Raikage, and the Tsuchikage was next to the Raikage. And their bodyguards were all behind them, and Jiraiya was behind Hiruzen. But his eyes were on the Kazekage, who kept his face covered with a veil. Jiraiya and Hiruzen knew this wasn't the Kazekage. Everything was off about him. The man was adamant on keeping his face covered. His smell was off. He didn't smell the same at all. He had more bodyguards than usual, and they were all different than before. You could blatantly see that he had a different eye color. And on top of that, they could feel something evil, something dark in his chakra and in the chakra of his bodyguards. So they knew this was Orochimaru. Meanwhile, in the stands, Araya's point of view. To my knowledge, the Chūnin exams were going good. My favorite match of the day had been the first one, Shikamaru versus Temari. Even though it dragged on for more than 2 hours, it was the only one I could actually keep up with both mentally and visually. It was a battle of patience and strategy, not speed and destruction. But now, I was watching another match that I couldn't even follow properly. The movements were just too fast. Blurs, streaks, flashes of color, and sounds that barely made sense. The only good thing, at least from what I could tell, was that the red-headed boy wasn't moving. He was sitting inside of a giant orb of sand after taking a few hits from the Uchiha. For a brief moment, I thought it was over. Maybe the Uchiha had won. But then the sand moved. Spears, sharp and glistening, shot out from the orb like living weapons, nearly impaling the boy with the black hair. My heart leapt into my throat. He flipped backwards 3-4 times in a blur of motion before landing sideways on the arena wall, as if gravity didn't apply to him. Then I saw him undo something, some rubber brace from his right hand before forming 6 hand signs so fast my eyes could barely follow. A bright blue light flared to life around his palm, and the sound that came with it was like 1,000 birds shrieking all at once. It made my skin crawl and my heart race. The Jōnin beside me, one in a green jumpsuit and the other one with the mask covering his face, started discussing the technique like it was something normal. Chidori, one of them said, an assassination jutsu. I blinked in disbelief. An assassination technique? If it was meant to kill quietly, why was it so damn loud? Before I could dwell on it, the Uchiha boy vanished. The next thing I knew, the orb of sand cracked open, and a scream tore through the air, high, guttural, and painful. I jumped so hard I almost spilled the drink in my lap, my heart hammering wildly. The Jōnin sitting near me, particularly the woman with the ruby red eyes, laughed when I squealed. Her smirk was almost playful when she muttered, "So I guess Naruto likes the soft ones." Excuse me? I wanted to slap her, to snap back, but the words stuck in my throat. Sorry to disappoint, I thought bitterly, but I'm not used to watching teenagers tear holes through each other. Before I could gather my composure, a strange wave of exhaustion hit me. My eyelids felt heavy, my vision swam. I stood up, shaking my head, trying to stay awake, trying to fight it off, but the more I tried, the worse it got. The sound around me dulled, chatter fading into echoes, cheering turning to murmurs. Something wasn't right. Then I saw it, an unfamiliar white tag stuck on the railing near my seat, burning faintly with an orange glow. What is that? I reached for it, but before I could even touch it, my knees buckled. The last thing I saw was the world tilting sideways until strong arms caught me mid-fall. And suddenly, I wasn't sleepy anymore. My head cleared instantly, but the spot where I'd been standing just seconds before was gone, replaced by a smoking crater and twisted shards of metal railing. Normal POV. Naruto landed lightly beside the collapsed seating rows, Araya still in his arms, his blue eyes sharp and feral. The moment his sandal touched the ground, his expression changed. No longer that soft warmth that she'd grown used to. This was the face of a shinobi. He placed Araya down gently against the stone floor and immediately scanned the sky. Paper bombs detonated across the stadium rim, filling the air with smoke. Screams erupted as panicked civilians scrambled for the exit. Naruto! Sasuke landed beside him, eyes flaring crimson, lightning still crackling faintly from his hands. Araya blinked in confusion, her voice trembling. What's happening? Naruto didn't even look at her when he answered. Invasion. His tone was flat, steady, too calm for the chaos erupting around them. Now, I need you to go with Sasuke. He'll take you someplace safe. I'll come for you when this is over. What? No! Before she could finish, an explosion rocked the arena wall. Dust and debris rained down. Naruto turned, deflecting a flying kunai with one swift motion, the impact cracking the ground at his feet. He turned back to Araya, eyes softening for a fraction of a second. Please, he said quietly, almost pleading. Go. Sasuke stepped forward, his Sharingan spinning, Come on. Araya hesitated. Everything in her screamed to stay, to help, to make sense of the madness. But Naruto's expression said everything she needed to know. This wasn't the day for questions. This was survival. Sasuke grabbed her arm and leapt toward the stands, moving faster than her eyes could follow. Behind them, Naruto spun and disappeared in a burst of motion, reappearing across the arena to intercept a trio of sound shinobi dropping from above. A massive plume of dust rose as he landed, chakra flaring. He struck one attacker with a brutal backhand, the impact sending the man crashing through a stone pillar. Another lunged with a blade, but Naruto ducked under it and countered with a kick that shattered the man's ribs. From above, Araya could only stare, her heart pounding, breath caught in her throat. The boy who carried her groceries, who smiled shyly when she teased him, was gone. In his place stood something else, something powerful and terrifying. Down below, Naruto caught sight of her one last time. Their eyes met. He smiled faintly, calm amidst the chaos. Then he turned away, stepping back into the storm. But guys, I'm going to end it off right here. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe while you're at it. The like goal for this video is going to be 8 likes as usual. If we can get more, then that would be fantastic and amazing and all of the above. But without further ado, I am out and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay blessed, y'all.